Yo. How's everybody doing this morning?
On point today.
We're on time at least, right? That's the main one, right? That's the one that matters most. Did we make it? Did we? Unfortunately, that's the biggest one. Are we here? Fuck, it's too early on a Sunday morning from somewhere nobody else is. It's SuitMan. You missed me 4 weeks ago or 2 weeks. I don't even fucking know what week it is, you guys. It's batshit crazy out here. But I'm awake and I've got the proper switch.
I was gonna say yes.
For our audio listeners, he's wearing a Pikachu shirt and rocking it.
And it says my current mood when it shows a Pikachu pass the fuck up.
Mood.
Great news for all our listeners in Oregon on your radios. We appreciate you. Yay! This show will actually acknowledge that, I guess. We know you might be listening to us on your radio between Oregon and Salem. If you're somewhere along the I-5 corridor, we appreciate you. We know you're out there, and we appreciate you tuning in. So
shout out to you guys. Woo!
Thank you, everybody. This is Autastic Artists 9. I think one of these days I'm going to stop going by the month number since this is actually like episode 15, right? So we'll get our shit together. But my OCD hasn't pissed myself off enough yet to change. So I've got the hiccups. I'm grumpy and crotchety. And there's 5 other dwarves here and these 2 other people. So
that is nothing new. So it's like any other show.
We've got Snooty and Quiet. Give it up for the usual, the potato chip and
Yeah, boy.
We've got Sensitive. We've got Bashful, and we've got Complete Henri. She says she's sunshine. Most of the time, she's a stormy day. Give it up for Audra, Sisak. I don't know this one that well, but I have an affinity for guinea pigs. She reminds me of a guinea pig because she's all cute and cuddly, right? But then if you piss her off, you ever made a guinea pig mad? They will bite. I promise you. And that's our guest here. She looks all huggable. Give it up for our guest today, Amethyst Baron. I'm probably the jerk out of the bunch because I'm like, I've never owned a guinea pig or a hamster. Like I said, they were cute and lovable, but I don't have one.
I think guinea pigs are cute and lovable. So
they are.
There you go. Amethyst is cute and lovable.
Yes. Wholesome vibes today.
Yeah. That's how the show always starts.
Yeah, at least it wasn't just me this time, right? And so the good news is this is my PSA. If you're like me and you feel about, oh no, I won't do that. I'm not awake enough to express that thought. It's going to be funny when I figure it out. I think that's how some white people feel about minorities. Like they're cute and lovable, but they've never had one. Well, meet one. We're not gerbils or hamsters. You can actually meet black people. You don't have to commit to buying one. That was earlier. Anyways, all right. I got my slavery joke out without fucking it up. How are we doing today? I do a topic. I got a weird topic this week.
Topic of the day.
Yay! Is it's Biden's fault about everything that's happening right now. I know most of us here. Oh, and you're the first. That's awesome. I wanted to talk about that later. How do you feel about the vaccine versus the Delta variant? Is any of that kicking your guys' butt, or how's it helping your region?
I was gonna say you're just delving right into this, like the
Yeah,
hottest
why
topics you
not?
could possibly have.
It gives me 3 minutes to fill, and it gives you
I
guys.
only get 3 minutes for this.
I was
Okay.
about to give my 3 minutes to Audra so she can have 6.
All right.
It was 3 minutes total. You each got a minute. What are you doing?
I
You're
can't do
wasting my
math.
time.
I'm not a math Asian.
Vaccines work. Vaccines are this particular vaccine was not meant to necessarily prevent you from getting sick altogether. It was meant to prevent you from dying or going to the hospital to be intubated. It was just meant to prevent you from being so sick. So yes, if you can get the vaccine, I highly suggest you go do it so we can all get back to somewhat of a normal life. Or if you can't, please wear a mask. I really want to be at the comedy clubs. I really want to be out of my house. And not to mention, on a personal note, I just want to give a shout out to some people because you know what? I have now had 3 lives personally that I know have passed away because of COVID. So look, guys, 3 in my life. So do it. There you go.
Damn,
Yeah,
there's no
that sums it
crying
up.
on this show. And I'm already I already got a couple good questions for Amethyst. Anyway, how do you feel, Jane?
The same way as Audra. Like, I'm so mad at like the anti-vax people right now that are just denying that people are dying. And it's like, oh, it's not that bad. Shut up, okay? Like, we don't need your energy right now. You are the reason that we have all these like mandates and all these issues because you can't do it. Like, why?
Yeah.
Also, I'd like to point out in Asia, it's normal to just like wear a mask to like not spread germs. But here in America, everyone's like, oh my god, my rights are under attack. I can't do this simple little thing. It's so hard. It's impossible. It's never happening. I can't, like, calm down. Oh my god. What? I can't with you people.
And last but not least, Amethyst. What are your thoughts?
So I have lots of thoughts on this.
Many of which I was going to ask about later, I'm sure, but go ahead.
Yeah.
Short one.
I'll do a short one. So I have long haul COVID. It's absolutely devastated my life. I spend most of my day in bed. I'm exhausted after taking a shower. I haven't been able to do my own laundry. I haven't been able to do a lot of stuff for a very, very long time. The thing about the vaccine, it's great. Everyone should get it who can, absolutely. But like we always knew that you could still get and transmit COVID with it. And I don't know, as a long hauler, I was worried when they were first announced on some level because I was like, now everyone's going to be like, oh, we don't have to worry about COVID anymore. We don't have to be careful. And I did see that happen like just in my neighborhood. But yeah, absolutely get vaccinated if you can. It's ridiculous that some people who could haven't yet. Yeah, and still wear a mask if you're going to be around people because you can still absolutely get it and spread it, and you may not end up in the hospital or dead, but you could have long haul, like lifelong disabilities, or you could cause that for someone else, and that really sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
It's not about just you. It's about the people around you that are not as healthy as you.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
not
like,
a
not
contest to
everyone
like prove how healthy you are. But some people have that mentality where it's like, well, I won't get it, so I'll be fine because I'm strong and blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, but somebody else isn't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a very ableist idea that like everyone shouldn't be careful because only some people will die or get, you know, severely ill. And it's also like not true. Like people think you have to have pre-existing conditions to become a long hauler. You don't. There's lots of very, very healthy people who had no pre-existing conditions who are like, now I can't get out of bed. I can barely, you know, take a shower without being exhausted. And it's sad.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
See, I get to be the voice of reason for once. And what I mean by that Uh-oh, I already saw the look. I was just like, what the fuck's he mean? I want to hear this asshole, right?
Just get ready to pin me.
Oh yeah, I don't even mind. What I mean by that is I respect the science that was done behind it. Right, and I'm not going to tell people that they're assholes for not doing it. I will just say, do your due diligence and do your research. Don't be the idiot in 2021 who should have got chicken pox vaccine and now you're dead. And that's my point to it. I can I try my best not to insult people because a very long time I was against the vaccine for my own personal reasons. Because I just didn't want to take it. And then I had to take it to be around my grandpa and travel out of the country and do some other things that I wanted to do. And so I gave in. And at some point, everybody on this show or watching the show still has a vaccination. I'm pretty sure you have your MMR, your polio, your chicken pox, or one of those. And so that's where I'm at with it. I won't call you an idiot. I'll just tell you you can't come to any of my parties in real life. Fair enough. They're like, no, they're idiots. Fuck them.
I still have all mine. But I have to keep up to date, you know. I mean, I work in healthcare, so that's, you know, for my malpractice insurance, I'm required to have everything.
Jeez, that got heavy.
Mhm.
I don't think we've started with, some of the other topics were just as heavy, but that one got heavy fast. Fuck, Jesus Christ.
Came right out of the gate with it.
Yeah, you know, I don't know what's going on.
This is your idea.
Hey, fuck you. No, we're not. Are we playing the blame game here, James? It was your idea. Their question. Thanks. Jesus Christ. Well, let's start here. You're a comedian, correct, Amethyst?
Yes.
Are you any good at it?
I think so.
I think so too. I can't lie. I wouldn't say that too. I wouldn't say I don't book the unfunny comedians. Okay. If we ever have a comedian on here who's not funny, just know I probably didn't. One day I'm going to tell you who the unfunny comedians were. I think one of them's a host on this show, but we won't talk about that guy. He gets sensitive. And what started your whole journey in the comedy, Mask?
Growing up, I really loved stand-up. I used to listen to it with my dad and my brother a lot in my dad's car. I never really thought I would do it though, because I was always like very shy, and public speaking is still like my number one fear. I hate it. But yeah, I was really like involved in peer support groups for around mental health stuff. And I went to this show that like a friend told me about, that was put on by like a local like mood disorder association. And it was a stand-up show in like a library in Toronto. And it was all comics with mental health issues doing stand-up for the very first time. And so they teach, like, it's like a peer support group where they also teach you stand-up comedy. So you spend like, I don't know, a few minutes at the beginning and the end doing like a check-in and a check-out and seeing where people are at, like emotionally. But they also very much taught stand-up really well. Oh yeah, so I went and saw the show, and I was like, hey, I could do that. Like, they made people use cue cards. It was like one of the rules. So I was like, if I could read, like, it's not as bad if I don't have to actually remember stuff. But yeah, I did that program. I didn't think I would finish it. I always just imagined that I would either drop out because it was so uncomfortable, or at least like bail on the final show. I was so convinced I would bail on the final show. So was everyone else. They made, like, we had to travel as a group to the venue for my show. It was in the YMCA, like 300 people. And they made me go first in the show because they were very, very much concerned that I would just like leave because I was so anxious speaking. But then I did it, and I absolutely really just loved it so much. And I've since done like Second City courses and stuff like that. And I don't think that they particularly added anything to my comedy writing, really. Like, I think the course was actually quite good at like teaching us stand-up and like basic principles of stand-up. The jokes all had to be very much like set up and punch though, and I still do have like a really kind of one-liner style because of that. They had like really strict rules. If it wasn't like set up and punch, so they were like, "You're telling a story, stop."
Yeah.
But yeah, and so now everyone's like, "How do you write one-liners? It's so hard." And I'm like, I don't know, because that's how I learned. It's the only way I was allowed to like.
You watch somebody
bring
like
joke
me
into the group.
monologuing and stuff, and you're like, "How do you do that?" Then I'm like, "I don't know how to do what you do, right?" How many
Yeah.
how many bad? Because I mean, like I heard you say something there. You were like, everything's got to be a one-liner, or there were some of those things, like you say, like as a comedian now, you're probably like, that wasn't good advice, right? Because I hired a particular comedian that I think is awesome, but I hired him for a 10-minute set, and ooh, after like minute 5.5 or 6 of just doing one liner after one liner, like they look like the little engine that could trying to go up the hill. You know what I mean? Because it's like, Jesus, that's a lot of energy. How do you feel about all the, say, advice you got from that group as far as like comedy merit now that you're doing it more?
So like, I don't think they really said that like, oh, you shouldn't ever tell jokes. I think that because it was, people with mental health issues who a lot of us would be very, very anxious on stage. They wanted to sort of minimize, the chances that people, because of social anxiety, would just totally blank. Like they even had us number our cue cards. I remember you had to number them. You had to show them that they were numbered in the right order in case, because one person once dropped them while they were on stage, and then like couldn't put them back in order, and it was a whole thing. So like I understood why they had those rules. I don't think that they're great rules, but if you're anxious and like getting into comedy, it's a good way to start, right? Like I thought it was. It
Oh
helped
no,
me.
I'm just asking you this. So when I did a TED talk for the Academy. Have you ever heard of them?
I don't think so.
So they're the Academy is a autistic group based out of England, and they've got thousands of followers, and they're really just doing a school to do stuff like this. So I did a TED talk on comedy, and they were asking me, as a person with autism, or like I'm highly scared to talk in public. I just somehow do it, right? And so they were talking to me about, like, how do you start doing comedy, or what's your recommendation? And I was like, go with what you know. If
Yeah.
you tell stories based on your life, or jokes based on your life, it's like, I don't really write my jokes. My new joke is I talk about how my mom burned me with cigarettes. I don't have to, like, it's not even really a punchline. It's really like a 2-minute sad story that makes people trauma laugh in a bad way, right?
The
Like, you're
uncomfortable
laughing
laugh.
already.
Yeah.
I can see that. I'll cry later. Thanks, Dante, right? But that way you don't have to remember anything.
Yeah. So that was also like a good rule that they said, like, write about what you know. So because of like, the setting, it was a peer support group, people with mental health stuff. Most, I think, of everyone's first set was stuff around mental health and psychiatry and, psych wards and all kinds of stuff. And so that was really fun. And it was really fun to, like, I guess, get to go into comedy knowing that like the audience was going to be comfortable with me talking about that. And something they also do in those shows that I've kind of kept as a producer is like, at the beginning of the show, they give people like a speech being like, listen, people are going to talk about stuff that is sad. They're going to joke about stuff that's sad, but they're telling a joke. They wrote a joke. They want you to laugh. Please laugh at their jokes. Like, you don't have to, because I think that's something that happens with dark humor. People will be like, I don't want to be, especially I think people don't want to be the only person to laugh.
They
So
don't
like
want
if
to be the
no one
person to
laughs,
laugh at you, right?
yeah, then they'll feel like a jerk, right?
Yeah.
So I think that can happen. So like, if I'm ever doing like a dark set in a room that I'm not positive about. Like I'll try to ask my partner to be there and be like, make sure you laugh at the dark jokes like early, because I think sometimes people are just like,
I don't like you
shouldn't laugh.
anymore. You're a cheater. I heard what you said there.
I
That's,
was gonna say,
no, hold
that's the
on.
bringer.
You're a fuckstick for that, but I want everybody to know that's a hell of a fucking idea. So everybody, I want you to, if you were listening to this and you're a new comedian, I want you to hear what they just said there, okay? When you're starting, it's recommended, and it might not be too bad, to have somebody loyal go with you to the show. That way, when I go, oh, cigarette burn scars, one person will automatically go, ah! Ah! That one person. That's the high minute of laughter. That's the virginity of that joke is now broken. So now everybody else can laugh too. Nobody wants to be the first one. Nobody wants to be the first one to laugh at a bad joke, right? Am I wrong here?
No, I think I'm that. Was I that person last time?
Well, it wasn't just you. So we did the joke. So, and the other thing I want to say is what you're talking about is fucking awesome. I think I've been inspired. I think we're gonna start seeing we're gonna see an American version of Laughable. I think we need to do. And what I mean by
I
that,
am for it.
you know what Laughable is, Amethyst?
Yeah, I contacted them a while ago. I think
Okay.
it seems cool. I want to watch one of the shows. I haven't actually seen it, but yeah, I've heard of them, and they
We'll get
sound
you
very,
on there.
very cool.
We know a guy. Okay.
We know a guy.
We know a guy. We co-produced those guys on our other show. But what I mean by that is, and it's great to hear you guys were doing it in Canada. I forgot you're fucking Canadian. It's not just East Coast. What's that about, right? Holler to all our Canadian brothers for getting their shit together first. But Laughable's another environment where people with disabilities do comedy. And in your, I don't know exactly to what extent your disabilities were. It sounds like they were more mental health, right, and psych and stuff like that.
At the time, but now there are lots of disabilities of all kinds.
No, not like that. I just meant the group that you were focused on.
Oh yeah, that was like a mental health
I
program.
like the way Amethyst tried to get out of that. She was like, "No, I mean, there's all kinds of disabled people." No, that wasn't the bus I was throwing you in. So it's cool to hear that there's something, because Sounds Proper, I think they're all disabled as well, right? And so
Yes.
we've got two shows where people really have a chance to not only do jokes but be funny. And then when you're able to do that dark humor in front of your audience or your demographic or those people, it's hilarious. I did 2 minutes of my set making fun of a guy named Jamie, who's the face of people who are like Stephen Hawking. Jamie Sullivan is the second most famous person I know that's speech. I don't even know the technology. And I made a whole joke about how I got trolled by a guy in a chair, and I didn't know if that was his voice or somebody else's voice is laughing, and they died. And the reason why I pointed that out is because I thought it was huge. You got to do jokes in front of people who were quote unquote crazy or have been to a psych ward or been through all these things. And so the audience was like, yeah, we're here for this. How did that feel? Because I don't know if do you get that everywhere you go, or was that you get as much of the same understanding for some of that stuff?
It depends. I think it was definitely like a really good intro to comedy to do it with that audience and with that material. It was a very, very warm audience. And like, even when I first started going to see the shows before I was interested in doing them, that's part of what I liked so much, is like the crowd was so supportive. By the time I actually did it, it was in the YMCA in Toronto, and it was like 300 people. Still, I think the biggest audience I've ever performed for. It was like filled, like sold out. So yeah, it's not just people like with mental health issues who come to, though. Like there's lots of clinicians, lots of psychologists. I think I saw a psychologist from a program I was in at my show. Was it my show? I definitely saw one at one of the shows, and I was like, this is a little awkward.
They're paying you for the therapy. You can just tell it on stage now.
Yeah, it was like super awkward. I went and I think it was when I was watching a show, because I went and sat down in the audience. Like I found 2 aisle seats. I very much like to be on the aisle. It stresses me out not to. And I was waiting for my friend, and I sat down these 2 aisle seats. And then I like just turned to look sideways, and like, yeah, there was like this therapist from a program I was in. I was like, hi. And she was like, oh, hello, how are you? And I was like, no offense, but I'm going to move. And she was like, that's cool.
Hey, nothing. It's not you. It's no, actually, it is you.
Yeah.
But for the sake of me, I'm gonna move, even though I'm not gonna. I mean, it's not. I mean, yeah, it's you. It's you. And I'm glad you brought that up. 300 people to do your first set. How'd that sets your bar kind of high, didn't it? Like, I'm gonna do this all the time. That was easy. How let down have you been by the reality of stand-up comedy? Every crowd's not 300?
No, that was definitely still the first show is still, I think, the biggest audience I've ever had for sure. It's okay. Like I don't need there to be 300 people each time. It's kind of a lot. Also, like, yeah, I don't need it to be in the auditorium of a YMCA. It's not really like a comedy club vibe either.
Go big or go home.
Seriously.
But you'd rather go home.
Yeah, and like, yeah, there are bleachers like that they use for it, and it's like it's a lot, like being able to see everyone staring at you. But it was also, I don't know, another thing that they told us to do. The facilitators that I had were really great, and they really stress that like you're gonna go up, you're gonna be nervous, you're gonna want to say your jokes and get just like done. They were like, you need to like enjoy the moment. So you tell your joke, if people are laughing, you need to wait for them to stop. But while you're doing that, like take it in. This is the big deal. Like 300 people are here watching you laughing at your jokes. Like take it in. And I did, and it was really powerful. And I think that kind of informed, like, I guess my tempo. Like a lot of other comics have been like, you're really good at like, you actually wait for people to like stop laughing, and you like, you give it a second. Some comedians rush through their jokes. Yeah, so that helps too. But yeah, it was really good. I don't, like, I guess I knew that wasn't like a typical stand-up scenario. So it's fine. I don't mind doing usually much smaller shows, as long as like, you know, it's not just comedians looking at their phones the entire time. I'm generally happy.
I like the way you said that. You tried to like, I'm fine. It's okay. You know,
I know. So enthusiastic about it.
much smaller shows. I mean, they're great. I mean,
This is fine.
Yeah, but this is because I've worked with you a couple times. I know you're a great person to ask that question to, because you're not saying it if that's just your tone, but there's so many, and you've done comedy. How long have you been doing comedy, Amethyst?
I think now about 5 years.
Okay, so yeah, you'll be able to identify with this. There's so many people that are one-hit wonders in comedy that like blow some huge room out the water, and then they're just like, yeah, I'm the shit. And then they get in front of 6 people and they're like, why wasn't I funny? Like, oh my God, I killed in front of 500 people. This is so hard. Like, I was
What's
so
a joke? How do you comedy?
Right. And then my other part to it is that I love the authenticity that you knew better. There's so, you know what I mean? Like it sounds like you knew, like, okay, this was going to be easy. I don't think this is how it's going to happen every time. Like these, you know what I mean? These people knew we were going to do some psych word jokes. They knew what was going on here. I know better.
Yeah.
Opposed to that new person that like does their friend's birthday party with 200 people. It's like, I'm a rock star, and come out like, so my Aunt Faye, you know how like Aunt Faye likes egg salad, and everybody's like, the fuck's Aunt Faye? Well, you've got some great stuff to talk about. So let's dive into it, because one of the things, I'm self-diagnosed Asperger's. And actually, I'm friend called out of the closet Asperger's is a better way to put it. Sunshine Audra here was like, so you're autistic, right? Like, what? She's like, yeah, I've known you since high school. I always thought so. No, no, maybe I thought I was like Sheldon. Never mind. So in your case, it says here you were a psych major, and through your studies, you were like, hey, we're doing what's the word? An assignment about me, right? Is that about right, or how did that work?
Yeah, pretty much. Like I don't know. I think I wondered even before like university psych, but that was when I was really like, okay, that sounds like me. So yeah, it's interesting because I think I had a brother who passed when he was 20, and I really think he was probably almost certainly autistic too. And he had a teacher. He dated in high school. His girlfriend was like 1 year younger than him, and they had one of the same teachers. And during his girlfriend's class, the teacher was like, hey, Jane, let's say, is your boyfriend autistic? He really seems like he's autistic, like in front of the entire class.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and my brother was very, very upset. But like thinking back, like, I don't know. I think I was too, but I was like just a lot better at masking and like masking lots of things. Like I learned very, very young to mask a lot in a lot of different ways. Yeah, I don't know. We had like a pretty difficult home life when we were young. And I mean, I don't know. I remember being like very like my earliest memories, I remember already being like, okay, my siblings get upset about all this awful stuff that's happening, and then they get in trouble for being angry. So I'm not going to do that. And also, I don't know, my mom had like no patience for anyone having any feelings. So I learned to like, you know, I don't know, I was depressed as a child, but like I'd hide it. I remember like I'd cry in the basement, which is very sad. But I don't know, it was easier than like my mom yelling at me for being upset. So
No,
yeah, I think I had to mask in a lot of ways growing up, and you know, I do think I learned to mask a lot of like my more artistic traits for sure.
I think that's most of us. I think all of us here will agree with that one.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's I think that's the best part about this show, and the worst part about this show for a lot of people is in the shows we do is we have a lot of comfortability here on our panel. We usually get everybody warm and fuzzy, and you know, not warm and fuzzy, but like I said, I left just go ahead and chat with the girls, Amethyst, and you're like, okay, I come back, and you guys are just kiki, and I'm like, all right, great, right? And so people don't see the what would be the word, the anecdotes, the ticks as much as out of us when we're doing this. And so I've had people watch shows and be like, you guys are normal. And I don't know if it's that. I just think we're understanding and we're comfortable. And so when you're in an environment with other people that are similar, you don't have the same ticks, you don't have the same reservations. And we've even had some people have reservations before and be very standoffish, even with me. And after about 10 minutes into the interview, they're like, okay, he's not that scary. This is all right. And you see them open up. And so I think masking could go for a lot of us, especially when you're not diagnosed. You know what I mean? And so you're not alone. Big hugs, if that means anything.
Honestly, growing up, conceal, don't feel, don't let them know has been just like my life motto. Because that's how it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was always like that, unfortunately, because otherwise, I mean, back when I grew up in the 80s and 90s, it was either if you did get a diagnosis, it was straight into a sped class, or back then it was actually labeled as retarded or retardation, and you were automatically put in that category. There was nothing else. So it was better to actually not have it then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I don't know. My teachers, like growing up, I didn't really speak a lot for most of elementary school. And like every teacher I saw, like I would go to the parent teacher interviews, and all of them would be like, they're an amazing student, they always do their homework, they're just such a great person to have in the class, but they don't talk unless like I call on them in class, and they don't seem to smile and like enjoy themselves like other kids do. Yeah, and so that happened a lot. And they also did like some testing on me. I don't know, it was like for a couple of years in a row. I remember because it was in different houses that I lived in. They would come over and do these like child intelligence tests, and I've asked my mom like what was that about, and she didn't really have an answer. She was like, oh, one year one of your like teacher aides person, like the student in the class, needed to do it for credit. And I was like, okay, but it went on for years. So I don't even know what that was about.
That's a
I
whole
don't
lot
know.
of
My mom was,
credit.
like really not telling me, but yeah, I just really liked it because I don't know, I loved taking tests as a kid. I really did. I loved school. And like I don't know, they bring over like part of it was like playing with toys, part of the testing, so I get to play with these toys. Yeah, I still don't know if that was about autism, mental health. I don't really
Dante,
know. My mom
I
didn't
think you
know.
introduced me to my twin that's in Canada.
Same thing.
It hurt my feel. So I'm glad we're talking about all these things. So when I did a interview with ARC, thanks to Audra, and ARC's our Autism Resource Center of King County, right? And so I sat down with a guy who's worked with thousands of autists, and kind of did something like this, where he's like, "So okay, tell me about yourself." And where do you want me to start? I don't know, wherever. And I like gave him like this detailed year by year, school by school, um, not like 7 hour monologue, but like 6.5. You know what I mean? And I think I got through about third grade or like my fifth school or something, and he just was like, "By the way, you're okay." And I was, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, I believe you." And I was pissed, kind of. I was like, "So what are you saying? You already think I'm special?" Like how it hurt my feelings, kind of. Like it was like, you mean I'm not normal? Right? I don't know how to explain it. Right? Like as a black person, you're not allowed to be anything but black already. I don't know if you know what I mean. Like we're not allowed to be anything else. You're black. You're not handicapped. You're black. Like we're already fucked, right? I think Debbie Wooten, a disabled comedian, she said, I'm not black. I'm crippled. You know what I mean? Like that was her whole mindset. It's the funniest joke ever. And so when I did this show with a whole bunch of black autists, we all had the same fucking story. And it made me cry about being boiler room kids and being sent to like nowhere. Like we'd have our schoolwork done. We're smart enough to do our work, but the teachers don't like us. We're talking back, and so they'd go send you to do nothing and walk in a lap, and then like, and I'm getting tears. Like I used to go to school somewhere else half the day.
Oh, I do. I remember that.
That just triggered Audra. Did you hear that? Just,
Yeah,
oh, yeah.
I remember that.
Sitting there with your headphones on, right? But then, and then here's the frustrating part: is like Audra said, and we trigger warning, our word. We were all retarded, and so the kid who's got Down syndrome and can't talk and can't function is the same kid I was riding the short bus with. Do you know how pissed off that used to fucking make me? And I'm sorry, I'm getting personal here, but it's like there's so much. I guess you said realist to what you're saying is that it's just changed. I don't know. It's different, and the self-diagnosis I think is needed because so many people were missed.
Yeah, and as an adult, there's no real affordable, accessible way to be diagnosed either. So
yeah, there's that part.
Is so true, which is why we always say self-diagnosis is valid.
Bingo. Let me ask you, you picked up on something that was huge there. You said you lost your brother, Is that the brother you were talking? Okay. You said you're looking into suicide prevention was a huge thing in awareness. You lost your brother by suicide. Do you have
Yeah.
anything coming up with that or about suicide awareness coming up soon?
Yeah, so August, sorry, not August, September 19th, I'm going to be on Crafting Comedy Carts Instagram. That's Angela. She has this crafts and laughs show. I'm going to be on there doing some like makeup stuff because that's the kind of art I'm mostly focused on lately. Yeah, we're going to be doing that, but we're also going to be talking. It's September, it's Suicide Awareness Month, so we're also going to be talking about that. And then Angela is also organizing an online suicide awareness fundraiser, which will be either September 25th or the 26th. We haven't quite settled yet.
And that is beautiful because unfortunately among autistic humans, the suicide rate is very high, which is why not only through medical complications, but through suicide, the average age or lifespan of an autistic adult is 36.
Where'd you get that number from?
It's been a number through like CDC and stuff like that.
Okay. Now, the reason why I say that is because I remember you said that before. And I remember somewhere I got some gruff from somebody. They're like, where's that number come from? That's a good question.
It's posted in Psychology Today. You can look it up in Spectrum News. I'm sure would have an article about it. I'm sure this is from a few years ago, that quote. So I am sure there's a new update. I would hope there's a new update because so many of us are actually diagnosed now. I would love to see that number change.
Yeah.
Hey, I just figured, hey, in between the two, you gave me enough of a to finally start looking. So that I just wondered. I don't look at me. I'm not the bad guy.
Oh no, I know I'm glad somebody asked because I actually didn't know where I got that from. It's an inventory up here.
Let me ask you, Amethyst. You've got a couple of different things, and I try to set these up without saying, "Hey, I read this in your in your thing," and I've been doing my best not to say "ma'am" or "she." You go by "they," which I totally respect, and I'm working on my best to do with everybody on the show because everybody on the show but me goes by "they" today. You said gender expression, trans identity, and were huge for you. Have you found those to be issues you attack with your comedy as well, or just more in your day-to-day life, or both?
Yeah, definitely. To some degree, I don't think I've talked about that as much as maybe like definitely like mental health the most. And I think that's just because I started writing jokes in that setting. But yes, definitely I have like a few little bits about gender and about being trans.
Oh no, I asked that because I it's something I'm working on as a cis male, right? And then the male toxicity within the African American community is a total different thing. It's like you're just not. We don't talk about it. You're not allowed to be special. You're not allowed to be gay. We just don't talk about it. We will, you know what I mean? And so it was weird because last night one of my ex high school friends came to a show, and the person at the door was a gay. I think I'm saying this right. Yeah, they said they were lesbian. I'm just making sure. I'm thinking back to myself, but they're real butch is the word. Am I using the right word here? I don't want to be wrong here, right? And so, and my buddy was like, "Hey, how you doing, young man?" I was just like, "Ooh, fuck!" And I had to give him a little jab. And my thing is my safe word is they. I figured out if I don't know, I just say they, and that has got me out of more trouble than anything else. I've grown. Sorry.
Duante figured it out.
Yay!
I had another moment of growth too. we talked about it yesterday, and somebody was like, "Yeah, women don't get to go out and party until their 30s and 40s." And I was like, "No, guys just slut shame women in their 20s for doing it." And they were like, you've grown up." And I was, "Oh my god, I think I have." That's the one thing I said about this
Yay!
So, when you talked about intersections of social identities in accessing healthcare, what did you mean by that, Mask?
About like a bunch of things probably, but so yeah, like I mentioned that I had long haul COVID at the beginning of this. I also have like pre-existing fibromyalgia that I tried to get diagnosed for years, and like so many doctors were like, you clearly have it, but I don't feel comfortable diagnosing it because then they would have to treat it, and which involves pain meds, and it's something you can't really like definitively prove, I guess, that someone has. So yeah, they kept like sending me like my doctor sent me to a neurologist, and the neurologist was like, "Oh, I don't even talk to anyone about fibromyalgia," and I was like, "Cool, thanks for wasting my time. I wasted months waiting to see you."
Wow.
And like, you're a neurologist, you should talk about fibromyalgia. And then I went to see another one, and he was like, "What do you think fibromyalgia is?" And I was like, are you a neurologist? Yeah. I was just like, "Sorry, are you a neurologist and you don't know what fibromyalgia is?" And he was like, no, I'm just trying to see why you think you have it. And I'm like, yeah, I knew this was you. Yeah, I don't know. So I think this happens with people who are neurodivergent in a very big way. But it also, I think, happens to me because I'm trans, because I'm fat. And I guess
Oh god.
some people consider, I don't know, I consider mental health neurodivergence too, but also because I have like a really extensive trauma history. So a lot of the times, if it's something that they can't prove to themselves, like they don't want to help me with it because I could just be making it up for attention.
Yep.
So yeah, so that's a thing. And like, I've really struggled with getting sort of help around long haul COVID over the last year. And I think a lot of the times that I did really run into problems, I know that like neurodivergence was absolutely a factor in whether, because a lot of it is like symptoms I would be reporting, right? Like I'm not even joking. I know people think I'm exaggerating when I say this. It's like it's easily been over like 100 distinct symptoms over the last year and a half. It's constantly changing. Stuff goes away and then comes back, and I don't know. It's really, I find it hard to believe that a virus could do all of this, but it did. Anyways, I don't think, I think they, if I didn't have mental health issue, if I wasn't neurodivergent, I don't think I'd have the same issues. Like I even went in for a surgery consult a few weeks ago, and spending the last year trying to get help for long haul COVID and going to the hospital like dozens of times and not really actually getting any meaningful help has been traumatizing in itself. Like I already had some medical trauma, but it's made it a lot worse. And even aside from that, like, yeah, I went into this surgery consult, and she like pretty much yelled at me halfway through for not making eye contact with her while I was thinking. And I was just like, do you think I'm just being rude? Like there are lots of reasons people don't make eye contact in any given moment. Like it's so fucking rude. And she yelled at me like I was a child. She was like, no, eyes here, I'm talking, listen to me while I'm talking. And I was just like,
Ooh.
yeah. And I remember I posted about it like on Facebook, and so many people were like, oh my god, that's terrible, you need to complain to the college. And like I agree, I should, but it just happened so often, and that wasn't even that bad of a medical experience for me. Like she okayed the surgery, and I thought she wouldn't because of my weight, and so I was just like, at least she did it, at least like something happened. She did some doctoring, and like the bar is just so low, I think. I think, yeah, I don't know. I think having chronic illnesses, like I already had some chronic illnesses before this, like the fibromyalgia, but no one would diagnose it until they wanted to prove I didn't have long haul COVID. And then it happened like instantly. So yeah, I don't know. It's just doctors are very biased. They're humans. People act like because they have a scientific background, they must be these objective, rational, compassionate robots who aren't influenced by their own prejudices, and and it's very much not true.
I think we
Yeah.
have to remind people that there's C- students that become doctors too.
Mhm.
And I think that's not to be an asshole or cut you short, but I know you're gonna go forever. You're mad as fuck about that one. I open a can of worms. I can tell you're just like, fuck these people, my COVID, my fibromyalgia. Janejira's on it with the fucking sound effects today. That's 17
Love it.
today. That's fucking record. Hold on, she's awake. But it's that's the thing, and I think that's the good and bad. I remember when I got my master's, I told one of my buddies, I was like, your master's degree looks the same as mine, even though I got a 4.0. And that's kind of insulting to me sometimes. And he looked at me. I was, yeah, I know what kind of work you did, fuckhead, right? You heard what I said there? Yeah, Amethyst that laugh too, right? And I think sometimes we forget that, not that your expectations should change, that you shouldn't get good care, Amethyst. I just meant that a lot of people forget that you may have got a C- doctor.
Right.
Very true.
Right?
Yep.
Let's I don't know. Should we lighten the mood already?
Shout out to the A+
I was gonna say, can we
doctors.
cut this like tension here somehow?
I don't know. That's just Amethyst. She's just this. I've she's got this.
I really like them though, because I feel like we connect. I feel like
You guys are fucking twins. That's how you sound most of the time. You guys both sound like fucking Piglet. That's why I figured it out. That's what it is. You guys are like Piglet. Hey Pooh, it's been a bad day, Pooh. They I hear it, both of you guys. I finally figured it out, yeah. And I'm either Tigger or Eeyore, depending on the moment. Right?
we're both in the psych field, so
And Jane's rabbit. I have a feeling Janejira's rabbit. That sounds about right. We'll stop
Oh,
being
that's perfect
serious.
because I have a rabbit
We'll get to
You have a rabbit?
right here.
Oh God,
okay.
yeah, that's.
I thought you meant an actual rabbit.
I
That
wish I
rabbit's
had a
very
real
cute.
rabbit.
Oh fuck, here we go.
I'm obsessed with rabbits. Don't get me
Shit
started.
first started.
I could.
Let me say this first. You guys get all the time. Hold on, Amethyst. You fuckers get all of it. Don't worry. So we're gonna do my least favorite part of the show.
Yes.
Yeah, look. They're all Amethyst. You don't even know these fucktards are ready. Here's my least favorite part of the show. Go ahead, ladies. Take it away.
The best part.
this is the lightning round, inspired by one of my favorite shows when I was growing up, Friends. In one of the episodes, they did a lightning round. So we're just gonna ask about like 3 neurotypical questions, or what we call like social chit chat questions, and then about 3 neurodivergent questions, which I think are much more fun. So I'll ask the first one. I'll ask a boring one. So what is your favorite color and why?
Purple.
Hey!
Purple.
Purple definitely.
Everybody here loves purple.
It's obviously the best color. Although it's purple's definitely my favorite, but I have like a bunch of very close seconds. I don't like making these decisions.
Because that purple, mine's purple. Yep. All right, Janejira.
What is your favorite dinosaur?
I think, is it Stegosaurus, the one with the like?
Yes.
Hey,
just-
Kyle,
yeah.
hold on. Are we talking about the battering ram built like a Humvee? Are we talking about Spike?
Spike. No.
No,
You want the one with the spiky tail or the bald tail?
Spiky
the bald
tail.
tail.
No,
Oh, the
you're
bald
talking
tail.
about Ankylosaurus. There you go.
There you go.
I don't
See,
have a
so I
model,
knew
but I
someone
have
would
a
know.
little henna drawing of a little spiked
Ooh.
Aw.
Yeah, that's a
Dinosaur vibes.
stegosaurus. And then Ankylosaurus is the one you're thinking of that's more like a Humvee, that's a little lower to the ground, like a turtle with the knobby tail. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm sorry, we got to get very particular here. Go ahead.
It's a very important topic.
That's right. We got to tell you why this is the correct way.
Why is Ankylosaurus your favorite dinosaur, Amethyst?
Just cuteness, I think.
Oh,
Not a great reason, but
That's
I
a
think
valid
they look
reason.
cool. Yeah.
Yay. All right. If you had a favorite place to travel, like if you could travel anywhere in the world with money not being an object and you can go anywhere, where would you go?
I feel like this is kind of a waste of an answer because it's the only really place outside of North America I've ever been. Yeah, except pretty much. So Ireland,
Ooh.
that's where all my family is. They're all in Derry, in Northern Ireland. If you've ever seen Derry Girls, that's where my parents were raised. That's where I would have been raised with lots of family if my parents didn't move to Canada.
You would have loved my high school. Our school mascot was the Scots because Irish, and then the band trip is like if you're in the band, you can like go to Ireland for your trip.
Ooh.
And we also had Irish dancers for schools, and my sisters also did Highland dancing.
Oh, cool.
Irish vibes.
Yeah.
That's right.
I'm surprised my parents never did that with me. I think it was just too expensive, to be honest.
Very, very Irish here. My mom's maiden name is McMahon. So yes, I would love to go to Ireland someday. I mean, I actually in the midst of trying to get my passport. So yes, someday.
It's so beautiful. And like the reason why I would go there, even though I haven't been like a ton of times, I think like 4 or 5 in my entire life. But the reason I would always go is one, like it's nice to see my family. Like my parents both moved here and we're very isolated here. And I have like quite a big family there. So it's always nice to see them, but it's like it also just feels like home to me.
Yeah.
Like,
Man.
yeah, I always like cry hysterically when I have to go home. The day I have to go home from Ireland, it's always like not a good scene because I don't know. It feels like home, and it feels like having this like supportive family system that I've never really had, and then it's like, oh, I'm leaving, and it's
guys, I may go to Ireland and not come back.
Irish people are also just amazing. They're so funny. They're so like, so I don't know. I saw this like meme recently. It was about it was like a series of tweets, and someone was like, I seriously don't understand how anyone tries to be fashionable in Ireland. I wore a red beret one day in Dublin, and everyone called me Super Mario. And that just reminds me so much of my family's like sense of humor and like, yeah, I don't know, just really.
That's awesome. All right, Janejira, I'll let you do the next one.
Okay. If you could be a dessert, what dessert would you be and why?
Ooh. I never really thought about that.
I don't think anybody really thinks about that other than me.
That's a goddamn lie. Because I'd be an M&M someday. I'd melt in your mouth, not in your hands. No. Oh!
Whoa, wrong show.
Next show, wrong show.
Hello.
Yeah, I don't know. Probably something with fruit but not just like fruit.
Ooh.
I don't know. I like dessert to like have fruit, but not. I don't like when people are like, "Oh, you want dessert? Here's an apple," you know. But I like
Those guys are jerks.
No. Is it a candied apple? Is it a cake shaped like an apple? Is it like an advanced caramel apple with a bunch of stuff on it? Is like it has to be a fancy 5-star apple. It can't just be here's an apple from my garden. That doesn't count.
Yeah, I think part of this comes from like being vegan and going to weddings.
Ooh.
And they'll be like, "Oh, we have a lovely vegan dessert for you," and everyone will have these like really ornate desserts, and they'll be like, it's literally like a fruit cup that they poured into a bowl. And I'm like,
Oh my
oh, this is so
gosh.
exotic.
Lame.
It's like, vegans can eat more than just the fruit,
Yeah, it's like you guys can't have sugar or pastry or cake or any actual dessert. You guys just, that's all you eat is fruit, right?
right? Yeah.
Is it a fruit capote? Does it have like decorations? Did the caramel turn off the gravity? Like, make it fancy, guys.
Yeah.
All right, last one for the boring ones. What is your favorite season?
Ooh.
My favorite what? Sorry.
Season. Time of year.
Season.
Yeah.
I think spring now. It used to be fall growing up. But now fall is like anniversary season for me. So I don't like it as much. I think spring, I don't like, fall's prettier I don't know, they're both very pretty actually. But like I live in Canada, we get like really nice fall leaves.
Ooh.
On that side, on the East Coast? Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, but spring is also like everything's waking up and new
Yep.
growth and all that fun stuff.
Flowers bloom just like you.
Yay. All right, last.
I just threw up in my mouth a little bit. What are we doing? What the fuck?
We're talking about seasons.
Glitter and shit too. Oh god, I hate that fucking part of the show.
We're
Back
saving
to
the
me
other
and Laura.
energy.
I'm back. Yeah. Was that it?
Yeah.
Jesus. I'm sorry. I feel like Audra most of the show.
Is your favorite season winter because it's cold?
What'd you say?
Were you a cold hot?
I'm not taking your guys' shit today, okay? My heart grew in 7 fucking times. I'm not the Grinch, okay? Did you hear what they just tried to say to me, Amethyst? Did you hear how they did me? Did you hear? I feel like
Aww.
They're getting warmed up for the next show. That's why.
I know sarcasm. I know that. I know your sarcasm. That was not caring at all. It's you bitches. You guys are all friends now. Are you joining the rest of the clan? I see how they always do this shit to me. Fuck you guys. So
we love you too.
No, you don't. You guys are jerks. Let me ask you, because you said something earlier that we really didn't touch on. You like to do makeup. Tell us a little bit more about that. And I know the ladies would love to hear more. Go ahead, ladies, and geek out, okay?
So I don't know. I grew up, I'm non-binary, but like AFAB.
Hold on,
so
stop, go back, time out, explain what non-binary means.
I think it means slightly different things to certain people, but for me, it just means I don't really identify as a man or a woman. I'm something in between, I think. For some people, it can be like, it switches rapidly. There's a lot of different, but yeah, that's what it means to me personally. And that, like, I've also felt, I think, since childhood, I just didn't really have words for it until university. Yeah, but I grew up like AFAB. I was very quiet, very like painfully quiet, painfully shy, and I wore makeup, but I felt like I had to wear makeup, and I didn't enjoy it. I spent like a lot of time doing like my makeup and my hair to just really blend in at high school. I didn't want anyone to look at me ever. But I did it because like I felt like I had to. Like I felt like people would treat me poorly or something if I didn't. I don't know, if people saw a blemish, they'd be like, oh, I don't know. Like I don't think that people should treat people poorly for having blemishes, but it's high school and people
But kids are mean.
Kids are mean.
Kids
And
are
you know
mean.
what? Back then, that really was. I remember back in the 90s, you would really cake on the makeup because it was that the style back then was that it was white face all the way, like, you know, clear for white face for me. And I'm talking from my perspective, guys, not just, you know, with nothing. And not even
Your
like
skin
blush.
needs to look airbrushed and
Yeah,
perfect at all
airbrushed.
times for
That's-
no
yes.
reason. And then my generation, they figured out how to do contouring, but they didn't do it right. So it's just like bronzer for days, bright eyeshadow, thick raccoon liner, and I was like, I don't know this. That's too many steps. I don't have the spoons for the steps. That's too many.
So we finally got a little bit, so we finally figured out a little, okay, how we do this now? Yeah, so I get that. And it's almost like wearing a mask because I did the same thing where I would wear these like warm neutral colors and I had the longer hair and I would blend in with every other student.
I'm just like other girls.
Of course,
Yeah.
now I've got like, what, you know, a short pixie, very, 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 very short pixie, you know, and I wear bright colors now. I'm like, yes, look at me.
I think the most liberating feeling ever is knowing that you can break away from that. And then also just being like, wait a minute, there are other options. I can explore them. I can do whatever. I can turn my face and my hair into a canvas. Let's do this.
Yes. When did that happen for you? When you started to explore?
I think for me, so yeah, that happened growing up. I really felt like part of my uniform. I worked all the time. Like I worked long hours in high school, and I also went to a uniform school, almost identical uniforms in both places. And then that just felt like part of it. Like it just felt like what I had to wear to go to these places. But like I wouldn't even like, leave the house to walk to the corner store without makeup because I felt so insecure about it. And then I think in my 20s, like I learned more about like the body positivity movement and got like really gung-ho and was like, the beauty industry is just, it is gross and it is very predatory and there's a lot of things that are wrong with it. But I got really yeah, I got really like, I don't want to give them any money and like I don't need that. And also like I was vegan, so I think I had like one like the Naked palette because that was like the best vegan eyeshadow you can get, and that was it, like for like a very long time, and I rarely used it. And then when I came out as non-binary, like I think within the first year I started being like, maybe I want to try like very cool colored lipsticks.
Yes.
Like, yeah, and it started with like purple lipsticks and stuff like that. But I still didn't really like get massively into it until well, partly it was ColourPop, the Sailor Moon collab.
Yes.
I'll have you know, I make Sailor Moon cosplays. So if you ever need one, just hit me up. I will make you one. I mean, you have to pay me, but like, yeah.
That would be so cool.
I got you.
My favorite Halloween costume ever when I was a kid was Sailor Mercury.
Yes, I actually I'm working on that costume right now.
Nice.
Yes.
See, this is why autistic people all hang out. We all have the same
my version
interests.
combines. Yes, the one I'm working on combines Sailor Mercury with Freddie Mercury because I also do drag.
Oh, that's so cool. That's amazing.
This is gonna be awesome. I can't wait for that.
I want to start drag soon too.
Do it. It is so much fun. Oh my gosh. I think understanding I started my journey of understanding gender fluidity and stuff through doing drag for the first time because I do cosplay. And then I've never like done like a whole like complete male presenting and then like chest binding, and then I tried it and I was like, oh shit, this is my gateway into amazingness.
That's awesome.
And I'm telling you, Janejira is handsomely gorgeous.
Hell yes. Yes. Oh, this year I recently got a chest binder for the first time, and like it's so amazing. For our audience that doesn't know, a chest binder, it basically just like flattens the boobies and makes it look like you have a male presenting chest, and it's more comfortable than bras, surprisingly, because you know what, bras with like underwire can go die. They hurt so much.
Oh my goodness. Yes, they do.
They
Yeah.
look good, but like, ouch.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think, and then I got the Sailor Moon stuff, and then I still didn't really touch it though because I hadn't used makeup for a really long time. And then in March, I was doing a comedy show that I wanted to record, and I was like, "You should at least try to look nice." So I played with the Sailor Moon thing that day, and it's pretty colorful, that palette. Like it has colors I never would have used in the past. And I was like, oh my God, this was actually really fun. And then it kind of evolved where like, I don't know, that was only in March and I've gotten so into it. Oh, also just being really sick, I watched like a lot of makeup tutorials on YouTube. I've watched like everything. I've watched like everything I wanted to see on every streaming site and stuff. So just because I've been so sick for so long and I'm in bed all day and I can't focus on a book, and so yeah, so just like I don't know. And then I was like, wait, like, so I was starting to enjoy makeup and I was watching all these tutorials, and then I realized like a lot of like I just kind of I guess assumed that people who did makeup tutorials on YouTube were all like very like supermodel-y, wealthy white women mostly, and some of them are like very stereotypical like one sort of look, and a lot of them are very rich.
Yes.
Yeah, but there's a lot of them that are just regular people, and I liked them a lot more. And I was like, a lot of them are very popular too, even though they're not. I don't know. I guess I just had this idea in my mind of what.
I gotta ask, who's your favorite? Because I have two. My two favorites I always watch is Bailey Sarian, because we do murder makeup mystery Mondays. And then I also watch Robert Welsh. Robert
Welsh is great.
Love him.
He's very good. I love watching him go over like the TikTok hacks, and he's just like, no.
But the hacks are awesome.
Yeah, some of them, like there's like one or two maybe I've seen like since I've started, and I've watched so many. There's been maybe like two that I've been like, that could be useful sometimes, but most of them are like, oh, like I saw one recently where someone was like, they taped up around their mouth and then just put lipstick on like this, and it's like, isn't it easier to just like take the 10 seconds to focus what you're doing? Like, why would you put
like a lot of extra steps?
Yeah, and it's like the hacks aren't supposed to cause like 20 extra steps.
That makeup break wasn't just brought to you because I'm a smart guy, not talking about what I don't know, right? It's brought to you by Crohn's disease. Shout out to all those with GI issues. Holler, right?
Hey.
Fucking hey. Jesus Christ. I know everybody out in America was like, did Dante really just let him talk about makeup for 10 minutes? No!
Yes, absolutely.
My stomach just fucking fell out my ass for 10 minutes. That's what happened. Jeez. God damn it, motherfucker. I was in there watching on my phone like, oh yeah, this was a good time. This is a good time for me to leave. Let them talk about makeup. They could have done this all show. That's what you guys did still did.
Welcome to the Glamorous Podcast.
Shout out. Yeah.
I already have another show idea. I gotta talk to you later, Dante.
Perfect.
I think you need to talk to Amethyst and Jane. You don't need to fucking talk to me. I don't
On this podcast, we are making it up.
Now the fucking shitty mom puns have come out. There's where only women laugh at them. They're kind of like mom jokes. Oh no, I'm sorry. Fuck. That sounded real haterish, didn't it? I'm better than that. All right. No, I'm not. Fuck you guys. I like the way Amethyst is like, no, he's not. I've been around him. He's kind of petty. Yeah. He's kind of. That's all I can. Like, you guys understand? Like, I think Jane.
The dogs agree.
I was going to say Jane and Audra, I'm only allowed to be petty because if I was vengeful, then that's scary. I'm too big to be vengeful. You know what I mean? So just
That's when the Mortal Kombat music comes out and everyone's in danger.
Yeah, they're like, oh fuck, he's gonna Hulk smash. Angry black guy alert. Somebody get a manager. I don't feel safe. So I just gotta be petty. Just gotta be silly. Did you ladies have anything else for our wonderful guest today?
Good. Nah, I'm good.
So
We should do this again.
Jesus Christ. We say that about everybody. So I've got one thing I gotta ask before you go. Is there's one question I actually fucking like. Who's your favorite comedian?
It's really hard to answer, but I get asked this a lot. I think people love asking comedians this. If I had to like absolutely pick, I think Gary Gulman would be up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just like his writing. So I like how he can write about the most mundane thing and actually be very, very funny. And, I don't know, not be like, it was just funny because I'm very dark and very crass and stuff. But yeah, I like his writing style, I guess.
Yeah, he has a
so
whole
many,
bit,
though.
I think,
really
on
is.
like Caesar salad or something. Yeah, he's funny.
I love his bit about the like Pepsi and Coke.
Oh,
You know that one?
yeah.
The cola called. If you say the cola called, you're not talking about Pepsi, you're talking about Coke or something. And the guacamole at Chipotle thing. I don't know if you've heard that one.
I don't remember that one.
He talked about like, I don't know, finding $10 in like an old winter coat and then how he like lived it up. And he was like, I don't know, it was just really silly. He was like, I got guac at Chipotle, and he talks about how they charge a lot for guac at Chipotle.
Yes, they do.
Like a lot. It's ridiculous. But yeah, I don't know.
It's $2.50 for a side of guac at Chipotle, and the whole burrito was only like $3.75. And you're like, so why don't you guys just sell guac instead of burritos if you're going to charge that much? No. Fuck, I think we just came up with a business idea.
Hey, Chipotle, if you're listening, we will help you.
Just sell guacamole, you son of a bitches, right? Fuck.
Chipotle guac.
And then you had what was your, did you tell them your Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, podcast bullshit about your makeup? I don't know, I'm old. How do they find your makeup channel?
So if you search Mixed Makeup Witch, so like MX, the honorific, it's just a gender neutral honorific. Yes. So MX Makeup Witch, on YouTube, on Instagram, on Facebook.
Janejira's doing that right now. You can hear it.
I'm writing it down.
And then I have a comedy YouTube that I do not work very hard on at all. And
your voice tells on you. I just want to let you know that being a deaf person that hears tone is page to go work on.
Dude.
Well,
yeah, so I have the comedy page, which is, it's just kind of taking a hiatus because I am literally so sick that doing Zoom shows can like cause a relapse that lasts like several days, where I'm just like, I can't really get out of bed. I think it's just the adrenaline, because I'm also like an anxious person. I don't think it would be like that for everyone in the same sort of health as me, but I know that I get anxious. My heart is already always racing. So like trying to minimize, getting it up higher constantly is not good. So yeah, so comedy is just kind of, I've made an intentional decision to like step back from comedy, except for things that I think are really important. So like this podcast, like fundraisers and stuff around suicide prevention. Like pride shows, I did those, but like, yeah, it's been mostly a break for a while. But anyways, the point was you could find my comedy Instagram, my personal Instagram / comedy Instagram. I never really separated that. Amethyst Baron comedy on Instagram, and I have a Facebook page for that too.
Yay.
You're good. I think we covered everything. That's the funny part, is usually between my probing and your talking, we get through everything. And we did. I'm reading through your whole little, and we've hit everything at least once or twice. Except for your favorite holidays, either Pride or Halloween. Some people would say they're the same. No. Ah! I've seen the way those people dress sometimes. I've seen the parades. It can be scary. I've seen the little. Oh, well, never mind. You've never been to Seattle. You haven't seen how they do Pride in Seattle. They go over fucking board, dude. I had a buddy say,
It's
he's like,
awesome.
I was on Capitol Hill, and he's like, I came outside. I was, what the fuck's going on? Is it Pride or something? I was like, what? You see a whole bunch of rainbows? You fucking Republican? You okay? You gonna breathe? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like Care Bear Stare. You're not gonna get hurt. It's okay, buddy. Well, this is how we close the show now, Amethyst. I didn't warn you. What's your question for us? You got to ask us a question.
Ooh, what is my question for you? What is your favorite animal and why?
This is the best one. Yay.
I got the answer. I'm gonna go first. I already know, and I'm ready to say it off the top of my fucking tongue. I bet you fuckers aren't ready. Ready? Where's the fucking sound effects, fucker? Ready?
Yes, let's go.
It's a koala bear.
Oh,
Excellent choice.
So I feel I'm a koala bear. Like from far, I'm cute, right? I even look a little squishy. Like you kind of want to squeeze me. May even want to poke me. But I'll scratch your fucking eyes out. You know what I mean? Like koala bears are one of the most dangerous fucking animals. They're not cute and fluffy from what I hear. They're assholes. And they're not bears. Okay? I'm not fucking Samoan. Stop thinking I'm fucking Maui. That's not me. Did I lose my shit? Sorry. Go ahead.
PSA to everybody. Duante is not Maui.
I am going to answer this now because I have a new one that has come up, and it's the octopus.
Yes.
Only because the octopus, I found out, can take rocks and things and make houses to hide themselves. And
Aw.
female octopuses will pick up rocks and throw them at male octopuses when they're annoyed, just for fun. That is my new hobby.
Throwing rocks.
Throwing rocks at
Yes.
male octopuses.
When pussy starts throwing rocks at you, just run, dude. Just run. Just say.
Yeah, good. That's the
And if
point.
there's 8 pussies throwing rocks at you, you got other problems, bro.
You're the problem.
Right. You didn't say octopus. You said octopus. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. That's your new nickname for the next show.
Octopussy.
Audra.
Yeah, that's what we're writing. Sorry, we do a show called Date with Disabilities. We'll talk to you about being on there maybe a little later. Amethyst, we'll start doing guests. But yeah, we have inappropriate names. She used to be what was it before? The
Polite.
polite pussy. That's what it was. She was the polite pussy. She was the polite vagina. Go ahead. Janejira, what's your favorite animal? And you can't
The
say Pikachu.
squirrel. Well, Pikachu's based off of a Pika. Everybody knows this. But my favorite is the squirrel because they make great ninjas. Hold on, my friend made me this. It is a
Ooh.
ninja squirrel, and that's been my
Oh,
thing.
that's so cute.
Yes, I love their fluffy tails. I love their little faces. I love that they have tiny little hands. They're very useful. They're also just so funny. They're also relatable in terms of ADHD because
Yeah.
the reason that squirrels dig so much is because they forget where they like hid their nuts. So they're like, oh no. And then they dig and hide things. And then they're like, oh no, I forgot. And I was like, oh,
Now,
that's
see,
me all the time.
I'm like sweating right now because the autistic like part of my little brain like wants to info dump right now and tell you that my cat has brought me a dead squirrel one time. So yes, I think that they're really cool too. It's just not dead ones on my back porch.
Yeah, they're cooler when they're alive.
Yeah.
So like I love chubby squirrels
this is
because
getting
they're just so cute.
I'm gonna stop you guys.
They
This is
really
getting-
are.
Oh, yeah, fuck yeah! Amethyst is jumping on. She's like, yeah, I know. Especially when you choke them first before they die. That's kind of scary, but it's cute too. It's like art, the death of a squirrel. Oh, you fucking sickos!
I
You guys are
held
following
a
me. Too.
dying squirrel in my hands, but Not in the way you're implying.
No, exactly. You're
They're trying to
sicko too.
save
She's
it.
not helpful,
Save
Di.
it.
I was trying to save it. I was like feeding it Pedialyte.
Yes, save the squirrels.
That is so white of you. The black side of me is like it's a fucking tree rat.
Tree mouse.
They're tree rats. They're
Oh, that's funny.
cousins.
The Japanese kanji for squirrel literally is tree rat. It works out.
I'm smarter than I fucking look, and I didn't even know it. I speak Japanese. Yeah.
Sure.
Kanji art is basically an asshole's interpretation of a word, I'm finding out. But hey, that'll work. Amethyst, you've been awesome. Thank you. Did you have a good time?
I did.
I'm glad.
Very much. Thank you. It
Was
was
it
fun chatting.
painless? I know you were
It
nervous.
was really painless.
Okay. All right. I'll work on that. Fucking Jane and her fucking. So give it up one last time for the comedian out of Toronto. What's that about? Give it up for Amethyst Baron. Give it up for the polite, I mean, Sunshine Audra. Give it up for the immature, unprofessional potato chip enthusiast. I've been your resident asshole, cantankerous, or foul-mouthed fucker. That's me, SuitMan. Hey, by the way, if you're watching live, we'll be on here in about 2.5 hours with Dayton Disabilities. We're going to talk about loneliness and being alone, and then we're also going to talk about OnlyFans. I heard they're canceling that shit. There's going to be a whole lot of broke hoes running around here soon. No more subscribers. Back-to-back page and Craigslist. Sorry, everybody. Good night, everybody.